In Britain, there are Black Lives Matter activists who believe British police are inherently racist and should be defunded. It's a very marginal point of view and is copied from America, where the idea, though still far from mainstream, does enjoy some support. An illustration of where this takes things comes from Portland in Oregon, where a week ago rioters caused $500,000 worth of damage, with properties torched and graffiti left on walls urging rioters to, quote, kill cops. The city has recently recorded 1,000 shootings this year, almost 70 of them resulting in fatalities. Both figures are a record. And yet anarchists and left-wing activists continue to campaign for cuts to police funding. Last year, the city's policing budget was cut by $27 million. And police have recently been told they can't use pepper spray or tear gas to stop the rioters. Well, joining me is Jason Johnson, former Deputy Commissioner of Baltimore Police and now President of the Law Enforcement Legal Defence Fund, which supports police officers in doing their jobs. Jason, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time today. We often get people writing in saying, well, why, as a UK TV news channel, are you talking about events in Baltimore or indeed in Oregon or in Minneapolis, where we were focusing our attentions only a week or so ago? They've got changes to a charter there that will see the police effectively becoming social workers. And the answer we give people is that quite often a lot of what starts out in America in terms of this sort of thing ends up coming over here.
Yeah, it should be a cautionary tale because, you know, as you pointed out, crime is through the roof in the city of Portland. They've defunded the police. They've tied the police department's hands in how it responds, not only to crime, but how it responds to unlawful protests. And as you said, not allowing them to use tear gas or any of the other tactics that they normally would use to prevent violence and destruction. It's prohibited. In other cities in America, their law enforcement agencies are being defunded, demoralized, resignations and retirements from police departments, and virtually every city in America are through the roof in increases, and also crime, violent crime in particular.
That point you make there about the number of retirements and the number of people leaving the service, I mean, that's one of those sort of minor details, or it's almost a boring detail that doesn't get reported. But actually, I imagine if you're a senior police officer trying to keep the streets of his or her city safe, it's absolutely vital. It just means you've got far fewer experienced police on the streets.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every study, virtually every study that's ever been attempted to figure out the connection between policing and proactive policing and the reduction of crime, violent crime in particular, has shown a direct connection between the ability of the police department to not only respond to calls about crime, but to actually engage the community that are most at risk for crime before it happens. And as a result, you know, when you have understaffed police departments, which we have, in almost every city, it really, crime and disorder become, you know, really direct challenges. Portland in particular, resignations up 155%, retirements up 342%.
Wow.
I'm sorry,
Wow.
430%. And the ability to recruit officers into the law enforcement profession is almost non-existent. It's not a profession that people want to enter anymore. Young people used to be drawn to the profession, not so much anymore. And the impact on public safety is pretty clear.
And what are the decisions? I mean, what are the reasons people are giving, Jason, for not wanting to take a career in policing? Is it because it's seen as that somehow you'll be seen as a social pariah, given events in the wake of what happened with George Floyd? Is it because it's seen as which is obviously a dangerous job anyway, but a job that doesn't have public backing, financial support, in the case of Portland, even the wherewithal in the form of pepper spray and tear gas to do the job properly?
Yeah, you know, it's all of those things. It's the lack of public support. It's the perception that police officers are quote unquote the bad guys. When police, it used to be considered a noble profession. It still is a noble profession, but the way it's represented in the mainstream media here in the States is not a positive representation. And I think young people look at that, you know, and they think I want to do with my life something that's considered positive, that people look at, you know, with some amount of respect. And right now, that's not where we are as a profession.